What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Bass Lane Podcast. Thank you for joining us tonight. I can see y'all are already in the comments, Mr. Chris Yoder and Nathan Reynolds and John Wesley. Thanks for joining us tonight, dropping all the good comments. We've got a great episode lined up for tonight. Two hammers, Mr. Dylan Nutt and Carter Nutt. I've known these guys for quite some time. Fished with them, fished against them in high school. They were always up there. They've always been doing good. They're now in college. It's been awesome to watch these guys grow, and just man, put it to everybody they fish against. They're super great guys, and I'm excited to talk to them a little bit tonight. And I'm excited to share some knowledge with you, or well, I guess they'll be sharing it. But we'll go ahead and welcome Mr. Carter and Dylan Nutt. What's up, guys?
How's it going?
Good, dude. So join us tonight from Lake Murray.
Yep, we're over here for the first Bassmaster tournament of the year. So this place is really insane. So
Yeah,
it ought to be a tournament.
is it y'all's first time at Murray?
It is. Yeah, we haven't been here before. I think the only lake we've been to in South Carolina is Lake Hartwell. So
Okay,
it's a new lake.
Yeah,
Fish is a little bit different, but should be pretty good.
yeah, for sure. So, is there any similarities between Hartwell and Murray, or pretty different?
It's pretty different. I mean, there's still there's some bird piles and some cane piles, but nothing like what Lake Hartwell has, at least from what we've seen so far.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Seems like the quality of largemouth, I guess Hartwell has the quality of largemouth. There's just not a ton of them. Seems
Yeah,
like
this
Murray
place,
seems to be a
yeah, it's
largemouth
all.
fishery. I got you. And I guess whenever we see the pros there, it's always like shad spawn time. I guess it's kind of a little too cold for that right now. Not really going down.
Yeah, the water temperature is like 48 degrees, so not a
Gotcha.
whole lot of that going
Yeah, not many shad doing the thing.
on.
Yeah, it's been
I'm
really cold.
Yeah, it's
I'm
actually been
cracking
so
up.
cold that our throttle cable has frozen the last 2 mornings.
Oh,
So
really?
we go back to the house, get the blow dryers, and stick it in there and try and defrost it before we can even get on the water.
No way. So did they get the same snow like Tennessee got, or was it just really cold?
They didn't get any snow up here, I don't believe.
I gotcha.
Uh,
How
Yesterday
cold?
morning it was 18 degrees, and this morning it was like 23.
Goodness. So is it gonna warm up by the end of the week, like tournament time?
It'll be highs in the 70s, lows in the 50s and 60s.
Really?
Yeah,
You think
Mhm.
you think it's gonna help?
I'd say so.
I don't see it not helping them.
Yeah.
And it's
I
going
feel
to
like
be over the whole time. So
you said
I don't know.
overcast.
We'll see how that Yeah. We're supposed to get some rain. I don't know.
I mean, kind of sounds like it's lining up to be a pretty good tournament.
It is. I mean, the qualifying weight at this tournament will probably be bigger than we've seen at many other tournaments. So it'll be cool. That's for sure.
Yeah. So you said this is the first Bassmaster at or the first Bassmaster of the year. And I know there's kind of like two different trails to the Bassmaster side this year. It's a little bit different than it has been in the past. How exactly does that work with being two different trails?
That's a good question. I'm not really sure how they're going to do the points, but I know they're going to do like a team of the year in each trail, and I think there's like an overall team of the year too for like people who are fishing both.
Okay.
But we're only fishing one trail. We're fishing the Legends Trail, which that goes Murray, Kentucky Lake, and then Saginaw Bay. So
And the other, what's the Lunker? The other one's the Lunker Trail, and it's
correct. They go Clark Hill, Douglas, and then Sam Rayburn.
gotcha. So is for those that don't know, they both fish for the University of North Alabama, and so are y'all. The whole team's fishing both, or the whole team's fishing the Legends Trail.
That's right. We've got 17 teams here right now.
You say 17?
Yep.
We've got
Jeez.
3 different Airbnbs.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a bunch of teams. Y'all
It is.
got some travelers.
Yeah, everybody who signed up was able to get in, so that was
Yeah, that's good. Is it? I know it's like with high school, it's kind of crazy. Like you've got your clock set for the registration opening is the same in college. I'd say.
Oh yeah, it was terrible last year. I mean, there was all the tournaments were filling up so quick that that's why they had to do 2 trails. Is just because there was so much participation that they couldn't handle all of it.
Yeah, I got you. Chris Yoder asked if we're going to start an auction for one of y'all's signed hats that's been worn in the tournament.
Well, Chris Yoder, he doesn't need any of our hats. He can
No.
stick with his glide hats.
He's and his the only hat that if I was somebody in the comments, the only hat I would want was the Clifford Perch Okeechobee or Harris chain hat. That was some good luck.
Yeah, I wish I still had it, but guys over at Tennessee wanted it back.
So who exactly was it? Tell us the story behind the Clifford Perch visor.
So we got on a plane at blast off, and we went to pass a couple boats, and there was just a couple waves in a row that just kind of hit us a little sideways, and my hat went flying, and we ran through the canals, and then we got up to the lock, and I was sitting there without a hat on, and I was asking my buddy Joey Bissing and then Jackson Payton. He was luckily he gave me his visor, and whenever we got into Griffin, I ended up catching all of the big fish that we caught in there. I don't think Carter caught one over 2 pounds out of there, and I give all that to the visor. That was the luck that brought me.
It. So you kind of got a
fish was a 5-pounder. I mean, it was
it was pretty fun.
Yeah,
I don't know what like in the MLFs in Florida. The last 3 MLF tournaments we fished in Florida, our first fish has been a 5-pounder in every single one.
Yeah,
it's a pretty good start.
Yeah,
it is.
So did you return? Did you give the visor back?
Yeah, he whenever we were walking up to weigh-in with our fish, he was like, "Hey man, I need my hat back." I was like, "Dude, you gotta let me keep it." He was like, "Nope, I need it back." So I gave it to him.
If it was me, I would have let you keep it. Do what?
He said he needed it.
Yeah, it's his lucky Yamaha visor, and he runs a Yamaha. We run a Mercury, so it kind of goes that.
Yeah, a little conflict of interest there. Mm-hmm. So we'll rewind a little bit. Kind of got off track. So what was it like when y'all started fishing? I love when the memories pop up, seeing y'all. You're like as tall as me. I'm not very tall, and from way back in the day in Tennessee Bass Nation. Tell us kind of how y'all got started with fishing.
So before we started fishing tournaments or anything, the first time I actually went on a boat, it was with Nathan Reynolds. He had a boat. I think we were in like 1st or 2nd grade, and we went out, did some fishing, and I loved being on the boat. And we had always been fishing our whole life, but we never had a boat to go fishing. And whenever we were in 8th grade, Nathan's dad texted my dad, and he said, "Hey, we're thinking about starting a team. Would y'all want to join?" So we started the team, which is Backwoods Bassing. I'm not sure if there's any team to fish for anymore, but it was the only team that was in Nashville at the time. And so we started Backwoods Bassing, and then we went to our first tournament. It was on Nickajack, and we actually got the ProCraft. We got that boat, I think it was 2 or 3 days before our first tournament. So it was a quick start. But back then there wasn't I guess in the state tournaments there was a lot of boats, but in like the regional tournaments there weren't a whole lot of boats. There's probably 60 boats at each tournament. I mean, now you see there's 150 plus.
Right. Oh yeah. So when you first started, did y'all's dad didn't really fish, did he?
No, he didn't. The person who actually got us into fishing was our grandfather. We had a little pond on our family farm in Scottsboro, Alabama, and we would just go down there and catch them. It was the Golden Pond. That's what the name was.
Yeah,
and it was
have some
that was
bigs
where
in
we
it.
got to start.
Heck yeah. So are y'all from Alabama or from Tennessee?
We're from Kentucky.
Yeah,
Kentucky.
We were born in Louisville, and then
Yeah,
my dad's family's from Louisville, and my mom's family's from Scottsboro. So they moved to Nashville, so that we're in between both.
I gotcha. I gotcha.
far away.
Yeah, right there in the middle. So I guess,
Mhm.
well, I don't guess I know y'all fish Gunnersville quite a bit and kind of made a name for yourselves down there. Is it how far is the family farm from Gunnersville?
It's about 5 minutes from the boat ramp at BB Comer, but it actually overlooks Jones Cove, which is just above the bridge. But we didn't fish Gunnersville a whole lot really until this year, and once we started fishing out there, I guess the first day we went this summer, we went with our buddy Briar and we had 30 pounds, and then we just kept going, and I mean it just kept. We couldn't go out there and not catch over 22 to 25 pounds. I mean, it was insane. So, I mean, there was no reason for us to leave. We just kept going out there, and then there were just 5-pounders biting. So,
Yeah, can't beat that.
gotta keep. No, you can't.
Um, John Wesley said when I first saw these guys, it was 2 years ago on a Tuesday nighter. Everyone took off, and then I realized why they called the Nut Brothers. They just have fun. It was with the Procraft and the Merc. That was I think
Yeah.
that was the night it was the CCBA and y'all won, and then me and Trevor came in second.
Yeah. That was the one you invited us to come fish. You said, hey, you
Yeah.
should come fish this tournament.
Yep, and
And
then came and beat us.
Yeah.
Ben Wrench had a question. He said, "Do you think live scope is cheating?"
no, absolutely
Or
not.
what are your
I think it's
thoughts on that?
true.
Okay.
I mean, it's just like starting everything. Like whenever side scan was first invented, I mean, everybody thought that was cheating, and it's kind of the same thing. It's just new technology that's evolving, and I mean, bass are creatures too, so they're going to adapt to it. So I'm sure it won't be that good here in a couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I agree. The comments are cracking me up. I wish y'all could see all of them, like on my
Yeah,
screen. It's Chris Yoder and John Wesley going at it constantly.
I'm sure Chris has got some good comments.
He does. He said, I might have been second in the tournament that night, but I'm first in their hearts. That means a lot to me. I appreciate it. So did y'all have, other than your grandpa, did y'all really have any like kind of mentors or, people you looked up to in fishing as you kind of came up through it?
Through high school, one of our biggest mentors was Sam Taylor. He's from Manchester, and he would captain us in some tournaments, and we learned a lot from him, like as far as just fishing in general. But then we just took the knowledge that we learned from him and just expanded pretty much.
I got you. Do you remember your first high school tournament? How did y'all do?
Well, we were actually not fishing together. I was fishing with my buddy Adrian, and Dylan and Nathan were fishing together. And we had me and Adrian had one 12-inch spot. Or actually, it was a 13-inch spot, but it was.
I think it was the smallest fish.
Smallest fish.
Smallest fish weighed in.
Did they still do a small fish award at that time?
No.
No.
Not at that time. No, otherwise they would have won it.
Yeah, it was like a 0.63 pound spot.
Jeez.
It was a time.
What about Nathan and Dylan? How'd y'all do?
I think we only had 2 fish, but we didn't do too good in that tournament. But I think we had a couple good tournaments that year where we got in the top 20, which was
definitely
come
a long way.
Yeah, we finished 12th on Teams Board, which that really got me going. That got me fired up, thinking that we could actually do good in some of those tournaments, because we used to watch people like the Vandergriffs, and they would always smoke them every single tournament. So it was nice to do good in one tournament and kind of get the feeling like you could actually compete.
Yeah, for sure. So after the first season, did y'all fish together the second, or when did y'all actually start fishing together?
Whenever we started fishing the high school trail, we were in 8th grade. But whenever we were freshmen in high school, that's whenever we started fishing together, and we fished together ever since.
Is there? I know, like when I fish with my sister, it kind of got a little heated sometimes. Do y'all have the heated sibling moments when you're fishing,
We have
or is
some
it
moments.
pretty
It's
cool for the
mostly
most part?
it's pretty cool for the most part. I mean, if we get into a disagreement, we just realize we're out there on the lake and just kind of get over it.
Yeah, kind of put your head down, and keep fishing.
Yeah.
Uh, John Wesley asked, How do y'all feel about the rear sonar, the transducers pointing to the side on the jack plates? I think is what he's talking about.
I haven't really seen a whole lot about it, but I don't know. I mean, side scan's pretty good, but I like that sniper pole though. I feel like that would be pretty cool.
Oh,
That you could
like right
actually.
there at the driver's seat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's
Because
pretty
I feel
smart.
like you could go past them. I mean, you could see them just for a second, but I feel
Yeah.
like you.
That'd be hard looking off on the sides and looking at the
Oh
side
yeah.
scan and you're looking at everything all at once.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot going
Definitely.
on there.
Yeah. What about Chris Yoder asked, do you think that the fish can feel like the sonar from the live scope whenever you pointed at them compared to a couple years ago when they didn't really seem to be bothered by it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I haven't really noticed a difference, but I'm sure that they definitely do.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Seems like they're like even just in the last like year or two or so, it's like they seem to be a little more like spooky to it. It's like the trolling motor and stuff like that. They're a little more. It's like they're a little more sensitive to it. Like or not literally that bothers them, but it's like they notice it more. Uh,
I mean, they definitely feel it.
But
yeah,
that's just the fish adapting. They just adapt to what they feel, just being creatures.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Uh, Miss Kim Taylor asked, "How do y'all like the program at UNA?"
Oh, I love it. It's an awesome program. Um, I guess this year, what do we got? We got 42 guys on the team. Um, but I mean, no complaints. I love it so far.
There you go, Miss Kim. Straight from the guys themselves. This is a good question from yeah, man. Y'all are rolling in the questions. Is it easy to balance school and tournament fishing in college?
Um, at UNA, it is. I'm not saying that UNA is an easy school, but compared to some schools like Auburn, where they got a lot more rigorous of a load, I'm sure it's a lot more difficult over there. But at UNA, it's really not that tough. You just worry about fishing whenever you're fishing, and then whenever you get back to school, you just hammer down on school.
Yeah. So, do y'all do much school while you're out traveling, or not a ton?
We should, but I typically try not to. I just keep my mind on fishing, and that
Yeah.
seems to help.
Can
But we
y'all
do
like
a little
work?
bit.
Good.
Yeah, we do a little bit. I mean, the stuff that we have to do.
Yeah. Can y'all work ahead? Like, if y'all have a tournament coming up, can you like get your work before it's actually like assigned?
Yeah, yeah, we do
Yeah.
that a bit of the time, but most of the time we just have such back-to-back tournaments that you just kind of go make it up whenever you get back.
Just
Yeah.
worry about it,
Yep.
Yeah. Just don't even think about it.
which that makes it tough because then it piles up and
Yeah.
getting behind, and it's tough. I mean, it is tough to
Yeah.
for example, last semester in the fall we fished 12 tournaments and 11 weekends,
Yeah.
and
Back to back to back.
Yeah.
a lot of those tournaments. I mean, we'd leave on a Monday, come back on a Saturday or Sunday, and then leave again, and it it's tough to keep up with the school, but we set up our schedules to where we can have enough time to be able to go fish.
Yeah. And how do you? What major are you guys in?
I'm a geography major, so like that's the like mapping stuff. So it gives you access to some mapping systems that a lot of people don't get access to.
Yeah, and I'm a business major. I'm majoring in marketing and sales.
Okay. Carter sold me some stuff. He's good. School's working out for him.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mr. Chris and John. JJ LaRue asks, how many college events will you guys fish this season?
that's a good question. Probably around 20.
No, not.
This whole season.
Yeah,
Probably around 20.
20?
yeah, probably so.
And what span of time is that? Is that like the full year, or is it till
Yeah.
like August, or?
That's the fall semester and then the spring semester. But we'll have, I think, 2 tournaments or 3 tournaments in the summer. We got the Boat US National Championship on Pickwick, and then we got the Bassmaster Open up on Saginaw Bay, and then whether or not we qualify, we'll have the Bassmaster National Championship somewhere.
Yep.
Have they
So
not
we
announced
fish. Do what?
Have they announced it yet? Where it's going to be?
They've not.
Mm-mm.
No, but we'll fish 3 MLF events this year, and then 3 Bassmaster events, and then possibly 4 if we qualify for the championship. And then we fish 5 school ran tournaments. Well, actually, we'll have to fish more than 5 because we've already fished 2 that are not going to count for school of the year. And then we have our own tournaments that UNA hosts. That's just UNA. So we had 4 of those.
Mm-hmm. 4 of them.
4 of those, and then that's it.
Yep.
So,
And then some of the schools tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
We went down to Logan Martin, and we fished the Auburn University tournament, and that one didn't end up counting for school of the year. So that's just another tournament that we got to fish.
So the schools can host their own tournaments, but they only count. They only count if they have like so many schools that show up.
You have to have 5 schools to show up, counting the school that's hosting it. So the team that's hosting it has to get 4 schools to show up for it to count for school of the year.
Gotcha. For it to count for the school of the year points.
Right.
Do y'all like being able to do the school ran tournaments? Do you think it does it benefit y'all more, or do you think it not so much?
I like them. I mean, it's fun, especially going and to different lakes that we're not going to go to for the major events. Like we got to go to Chickamauga and fish the Carson Newman event. And then we got to stay a day after the MLF on Hartwell this fall, and we got to fish the Carson Newman event there. So it's fun. It's just more fishing.
Yep. Can't beat it.
Oh yeah. Chris asked, we get a recap of the back-to-back weeks that y'all just had in Florida.
Yeah.
Starting with the Harris Chain.
Starting on the Harris Chain. The Harris Chain as itself, it was fishing terrible. I mean, all the lakes that are normally dynamite they were just not popping off. And Big Lake Harris, that's where we caught them last year. There was a big fish kill going on. There was like an algae bloom or something, and all the there was a bunch of dead tilapia, bluegill, shad, just floating everywhere. So once we that was where we spent our first day of practice, and once we saw that, we decided that we were going to go up to Griffin, which that was really the healthiest lake on the chain at the time because it's just full of grass, and found some fish in there in practice, and then we went up there in the tournament and caught what we did. I guess we had like 19 something whenever we left, and then we had a last minute in the last 15 minutes of the tournament. Carter caught a 4.5 on Big Lake Harris, which jumped us up to the winning weight, which was pretty awesome. But you tell them about Toho?
Yeah. So after that, we had a day off, and then started practice on Toho, which we only had a day and a half of practice on Toho, which is a huge lake. And you've not only got Toho, you've got Cypress, Hatch Nahal, and Kissimmee. So you've got 4.
You got two two or three other
Yeah,
lakes that you
and
can go to.
Tiger, and I don't know the other one, but it's
Gentry.
yeah.
Gentry was another one.
It's a big chain. We only had a day and a half of practice, and so we decided to just go to the smaller lakes since we've never been there before and we don't really know much about it. And we were able to find some promising areas. And first day of the tournament, we had 21, almost 22 pounds. We were sitting in sixth, and day two of the tournament, pulled up to the place where we caught them at the first day, and there was a shiner fisherman sitting there, and I guess their trip from Kentucky was a little bit more important than
Our national championship.
our national championship and the two boats that we were fishing for.
Yeah.
And they didn't budge. And they said, "Oh, you can fish here, but we're gonna fish here too." And we got to watch them catch them and kind of screwed up the whole area.
Man, that hurts. That hurts.
Yeah.
It really does, especially we were so close to a boat, which all we know is another 21 pounds and we'd have won.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we were looking at them all day, and they just I don't know. We had a lot of missed opportunities.
Yeah. And in practice, I jumped off like a 9-pounder, which was crazy. That's one of the biggest fish I've ever hooked.
Really? What's
Mm-hmm.
both y'all's PB?
So my PB with I caught a 767 during the Heartland Championship on Pickwick, and that's my PB on artificial. But I caught a 911 on live bait, which was a big one. I was wishing I was catching it on artificial.
Oh yeah, that's a giant. What about you, Carter?
And mine's an 8.5, which was in a tournament on Gunnersville this summer.
Heck yeah!
I've actually caught 2 8.5s. I caught one on Lake Chickamauga and then one on Gunnersville.
Catching some giants. What would you say is y'all's favorite lake you've been to so far in college?
I think
probably
Murray.
Probably
right here. This is 100%.
Yeah, Murray is.
It's pretty.
I'm
crazy.
digging it.
Yeah, there's a ton of big ones.
And also, I mean, it's got grass in it. It's got eelgrass, hydrilla, milfoil. There's stumps everywhere. There's rock. There's
everything you
cane.
want.
There's brush piles. There's everything. And I mean, the lake is full of big ones. I mean, it's crazy. We've seen some crazy stuff the past 2 days.
The first fish we caught was 6.5.
6.5.
Yep, that was the first fish we caught.
Don't have to be in Florida to catch one bigger than 5 on the first fish.
No.
What man, y'all are Chris Yoder, man, he's hot at the comments. He's on it tonight. I think he's just wanting to get the juice out of y'all. How do you break down a new body of water in a place you've never been to while on a pre-practice time limit? Okay, while you're practicing and you don't have 7 or 8 days to fish the tournament or get to practice.
Typically what we just do is we'll just pick a section of the lake and we'll spend a lot of time graphing, just seeing what the lake has to offer, and then just start fishing. Fish the stuff that looks good and kind of see where the fish are and go from there.
Just kind of, I hear a lot of people say like they break it down into thirds, and that's kind of what I do really. Just like pick one, just kind of pick one section and really break it down. Yeah, there you go, Chris. There's the info. What about after college? Y'all have any plans? What's it looking like after college, y'all think?
Well, we're in the process right now of getting our captain's license, so we're going to start guiding this summer, and that's what it's looking like so far. I mean, we're going to try and fish the opens once we can get enough sponsor dollars to afford it, and go from there.
Sweet. So maybe looking at a career out of this deal.
That's the goal. that's really about the only thing I wanted to do since I was about 6. So doing anything else would really count as a failure for me, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. What about where y'all gonna guide at?
I think it's mostly gonna be on the Tennessee River. We're gonna offer trips on Pickwick, Chickamauga, Gunnersville. But I'd love to guide on some of the smaller lakes in Tennessee too. There's a
Yeah.
lot of little gems up there.
Oh yeah, for sure. I guess kind of being down there being down there at UNA, you're kind of around some really good Tennessee River lakes,
Oh
especially in the summertime.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's hard to beat the TVA in the summertime. It is.
Oh yeah.
But really, I mean, it's hard to beat the TVA any time of the year. They're always biting.
Yeah, no doubt about that. What is y'all's favorite wintertime, I guess, spinning rod bait? That's the comment. Apparently it's Nathan says beetle spin. Nathan says beetle spin.
Yeah. That's what we grew up fishing with, beetle spin. And even out here, I'm on it here the last 2 days. Beetle spin's pretty good. A lot of people sleep on it.
Oh yeah.
But I would say my rod bait is probably a blade bait. Honestly,
blade bait?
They like a blade bait.
Yeah. And are y'all just using your live scope, or I know like some people throw it on rock piles and stuff like that, just going down the bank and whatnot. Are y'all really like targeting fish with it, like specifically?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about a blade bait is you can do really anything. I mean, you can bomb it out in the middle of the pocket and fish it through, or you could throw it on an individual fish, and they like it.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like a subtle rattle trap, I guess.
Yeah, it's a really good bait to cover water with.
Yeah, no doubt. What would you say is y'all's favorite tournament so far in college?
I would have to say the Kissimmee the Toho National Championship. That was a blast down there.
Yeah.
But,
and
I don't know,
why did y'all only get a day and a half of practice? I meant to ask that.
That's just what they do for the MLF National Championship, I guess. We had a month cutoff where
3 weeks.
3-week cutoff where we couldn't get any information, couldn't go to the lake, and then they gave us a day and a half, which is really tough when you're breaking down a body of water that's that big.
Oh yeah.
But we just stuck with what we were good at and ended up doing pretty good.
Yeah. Where did y'all end up finishing? I know you were sitting really good after the first day.
We ended up finishing in 10th after a disqualification of the, I guess it was the third place team. They were using 5 hooks on their Alabama rig. And in Florida, you're allowed to use 5 hooks on your Alabama rig, but for MLF, they only allow you to use 3. So,
yeah, we went to Hartwell, South Carolina. You can have 5 hooks too, but I looked up the MLF rules. I guess it's kind of like the BFL rig or whatever. Can't run the 5. Craig Sanford asked, "What is your best high school fishing memory? Whether it's like a tournament or a favorite year."
State championship on Lake Chickamauga, the one that we won. We the first day we had 20 and a half. We were sitting in 4th, I believe. And the second day, it was a lot tougher on us. We had I think we had 12 and a half pounds. And then we pulled up on a ledge.
At 1 o'clock.
Yeah, at 1 o'clock, we pulled up on a ledge, and I lost like 4-pounder at a boat. There was like a group of like 4 to 6 pounders come up on my spoon at the boat. I dropped it back down and then hooked one, and it pulled off. And then I caught a 6-pounder, a 6.5.
No,
and
I
then
lost it.
Dylan had like 6 or 7-pounder. He just swam it at the boat, and it came off. And then I caught like a 5-pounder, and then caught a 7.5. So we went from 12 and a half to almost or over 24 in about 15 minutes. It
got us pretty fired up.
Oh yeah.
You
After being in the boat with you guys, I remember Dylan. He was like yelling at us because he said me and Trevor weren't fired up enough. So I
Yeah.
can only imagine. I can only imagine what that 15 minutes was like.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Oh.
I will never.
Yeah, me
Oh
either.
yeah, guarantee it.
Especially that last big one in the boat, and then we realized how big of a bag we had. It was just insane.
Yeah, for sure. um, Ben Rich asked, what color is better for a trailer on a spinnerbait or chatterbait in the wintertime? Okay, what's your favorite trailer on a chatterbait and a spinnerbait?
I don't really have a favorite. I use a lot of different trailers. It just depends on what we're fishing. Like if I'm trying to keep my chatterbait really high, I like a paddle tail swim bait. But if I want to get my chatterbait or spinnerbait lower in the water column, I'll throw like some sort of straight tail swim bait, something like that. But there's a lot of different options you can use, especially nowadays. It seems like every bait company's got the same bait, so it's hard kind of options.
Yeah, for sure. Can you explain in very vivid detail how you won tournaments on Old Hickory, including waypoints and lures? From Chris Yoder.
Yeah. So what we would do is we would run down the lake, and then we would stop on the first bluff that we saw, and then that bluff right there at Flippers. We won countless tournaments right there.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Jig and pig on a jig and pig, flipping it on the bluff.
Pig and
That's
jig.
for Chris Yoder. We didn't actually catch him that way. For Chris Yoder. That's how we call him.
He'll be out there trying it. People are probably so confused if they don't know him. So I know I won't keep you guys too long. I know you got some rigging stuff to do. Y'all are practicing for a tournament this weekend. Sorry, I'm reading through these comments. I really wish everybody could see these. So if you had one piece of advice you could give whoever's watching, whether it's Chris Yoder or whoever, it could be anything. It could be life advice. It could be fishing advice. It could be anything. What would it be?
Well, my piece of advice is just to always trust your gut. I mean, no matter what you're doing, whether you're fishing or you're doing schoolwork or you're hanging out with friends, your gut will never lead you wrong. If you just listen to what it's telling you, then you will always be good.
What about you, Carter?
I'll give a little fishing advice. Say time on the water is crucial, and without it, you're not going to catch anything.
Just put the work in.
Learn how to catch them, and you will catch them.
Learn how to catch them, and you will catch them.
Yep.
Put it on a T-shirt. Okay, last question. What's the deepest bass y'all have caught?
We've caught some pretty deep ones. Not on scope, actually. But I haven't caught. I mean, we've caught some bass out of like 40 foot on scope, but I want to say like back in whenever we were using our 2D, we caught some out of like 60 foot. I'd say it's probably the deepest.
Really?
Up on Dale Hollow, they get pretty. I want to say we caught some out of like 50 foot on Priest.
Yeah, we caught some on a jig out of like 45 on Priest.
Really? That's some deep water fish, especially for Priest. I didn't even know it got that deep.
Yeah, I mean, they would just be at the bottom of those bluffs, pretty much.
Yeah, I gotcha.
But
everybody in the comments is talking about a turtle. I don't know. I have no idea what they're talking about. I'll have to get the lowdown on that later. I'm kind of scared to talk about what they're talking about. But thank you guys for coming on the podcast. Had to cut a little bit short tonight since y'all are practicing and whatnot. Gotta get grubbed up and get in bed for tomorrow.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for coming on. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Good luck
I really
this week.
appreciate you having us.
Yeah,
you.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun week, no doubt.
Just
Yeah.
gotta hammer it down and try and find a few more fish.
Yep, I'm sure y'all do it. You always do. Well, y'all be careful out there on the lake and find some more fish. They're still talking about turtles. Okay. Well, thank you guys. Do what?
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I don't have any good turtles.
I'm a little confused. JJ said good luck. Kim Taylor said good luck. John Wesley said get them. Chris Yoder said y'all are his superheroes. So thank you all for watching and blowing up the comments. I appreciate it. Hope y'all have a good night and good rest of your week, and we'll see you on the next one.
You
All
too.
right, man. Take it
Have a
easy.
good one.